Pope Leo XIV has navigated a backdrop of international political tension as Europe continues to manage various territorial disputes. The first American pope is now a geopolitical wildcard, complicating border disputes and presidential conflicts as global tensions rise. This sudden shift in religious leadership is actively complicating long-standing border disputes and intensifying presidential conflicts as global tensions rise. The first year of Pope Leo XIV's pontificate has been described as historic and groundbreaking, marked by a backdrop of international political tension. An American now holds the chair of St. Peter, a change that has rewritten the Vatican's diplomatic approach and its core international relations. This isn't just about a change in nationality, it is about a change in how the Church engages with the most powerful political players on the planet. This approach has increasingly found him at odds with Donald Trump. As he concludes his first year, the pontiff has increasingly found himself at odds with Donald Trump. Scholars call this the Leonine Pontificate. We are already seeing the Pope make more direct and occasionally controversial public statements regarding modern global issues. Some describe his papacy as a breath of fresh air, but his recent travels have been marked by a backdrop of international political tension. As we look at the current state of Europe and the Middle East, the Pope's recent travels and his clashes with the White House are central to the story. This ongoing clash between the two leaders continues to divide many Catholics. The Pope attacked a delusion of omnipotence, he says, drives the US-Israel war with Iran. This dangerous mindset, he warns, fuels the escalating conflict. This was not a subtle critique, it was a direct challenge to the strategic objectives of the current US administration. Trump keeps calling the Pope weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy, trying to paint the religious leader as a political liability. Things got worse when the president claimed the Pope thinks it is okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. This clash has divided Catholics. For many of President Trump's Catholic supporters, it has been a rocky April. While the US and the Vatican clash, the Pope has been busy traveling to the very regions where global instability is most visible. He traveled through Algeria, Cameroon, Angola, and Equatorial Guinea, visiting regions currently facing intense internal wars. In Algeria, he actively promoted interreligious dialogue and visited the Great Mosque to show his commitment to peaceful coexistence. This African tour was not just a religious pilgrimage, it was a diplomatic mission into the heart of the world's emerging geopolitical challenges. As these external pressures mount, internal European disputes also continue to simmer, often over seemingly small pieces of land. While it may seem minor, such disputes highlight the persistent nature of national identity and territorial claims in the heart of Europe. Donald Trump, Giorgia Meloni, and Keir Starmer met to discuss supporting a ceasefire. This high-level meeting focused on diplomatic strategies for achieving a lasting cessation of hostilities. This was part of a larger pattern of intense diplomatic maneuvering as the war in Gaza entered its second year. 1 week later, Keir Starmer met Zelensky at 10 Downing Street, signaling that the EU remains focused on supporting Ukraine. These back-to-back meetings underscore the high stakes of the conflict and the intense pressure on European and American leaders to find a resolution. More than 130 leaders, policymakers, and experts gathered to reflect on peacemaking efforts and shrinking diplomatic space, deliberating on the nature of dialogue within the EU's common foreign and security policy. While the Pope is navigating these global tensions, he is also dealing with deep-seated issues within the Church itself. This follows his engagement with conflict zones and political tension, as he faces calls for every effort to be made regarding redress for historical abuse. So, what does it all mean when a Pope flies directly into the heart of these contested zones? By visiting Africa and directly critiquing US-Israel-Iran dynamics, the Pope is positioning the Church as an active, even provocative diplomatic actor. The rise of hybrid warfare in Europe, as seen at the Belarusian border, creates a vacuum that religious and humanitarian leaders are being called to fill. The Pope faces a backdrop of international political tension. The situation is developing rapidly, and the Pope's next move could shift the balance of power in unexpected ways.